Hey everyone, Eric on Paper. I'm Eric, and I'm really excited to share a lot of progress with you on Spider-Man 4. I think you're going to like this video. So why don't you just hit the like button down there and subscribe to me? I mean, if you're one of the cool people. So we have a couple days of filming under our belt that I'm really proud of, and I'm going to show off some of the CGI that our amazingly talented animators have been working on. So Brendan and I shot some scenes of Wilson Fisk security guards, and uh, Bryn has such meticulous attention to detail, and when it came time to costuming, it was pretty cool to put that together. You know, we had back and forth conversations, and on the day, we assembled the guard outfit out of some pieces he 3D printed and made. Some stuff was purchased, some stuff I owned, and throwing it together, I think we have a really impressive looking trooper. And what I did, just to make the day as efficient as possible, is I went through and I storyboarded every single shot that we would need the security guards in. And it was quite a bit. Poor Bryn was in, the really heavy suit, running around and moving. And, I'm just sitting there saying, no, run this way, run that way, now be faster. Or to quote George Lucas, faster, more intense. But it was a lot of fun shooting that scene, those scenes, I should say. And the great thing about doing a shoot like that with these elements is that you just put them in as needed. You plug it in into the movie, and it's a lot of fun. Even with like a totally masked guard, I just wanted to give each of them a unique personality, or as unique as possible. So we'd introduce different character quirks and things like that. Uh, One thing that you'll notice in the footage is that the guards have tracking markers on their visors. Now, we're going to replace those digitally with actual reflections of the environment that the characters are in. And it's one of those things where it's a very small touch, but it's the extra mile we're going just to make this as high quality a film as possible. The next day of filming was pretty fun. It was another Spidey Black Hat day, and it's always a joy to work with Mandy and Greg. They are so much fun. I've said that many times, but it keeps being true. We shot a bit where they infiltrate Fisk's tower, and I'm not going to tell you how that goes, but what's interesting to see is that some of the guard footage that we shot earlier does correspond to the scenes that we had filmed with them. So it goes to show, if you plan your movies ahead, you can get things done much more efficiently than if you just make it up on the day. And to be frank with you, in my college days, I was very flipping arrogant. Some would argue I never left that phase. I don't like them. But I would just say to myself, like, oh, I can just got the shot list in my head. I know how it's gonna look. I mean, that may work on like a little scene of just people talking in an apartment or whatever, but if you've got a lot of effects, and now we have very talented animators that I'll talk about in just a minute. Now that we have people like that on board, communication between everyone is key, and those little drawings, or Bryn will take them and make them animatics, they're really helpful. The last scene we shot was a pretty fun one where Spidey and Black Cat save some people. Now, if there's one thing that I love about the Raimi movies, and Bryn's pointed this out too, is that New York feels very alive in those movies. There's all kinds of eccentric characters in there. If you recall that opening montage when people are first reacting to Spider-Man, there's a guy playing the song about him. There's that hilarious Lucy Lawless cameo. And I just love the guy on the bridge, when they throw the can at Goblin and like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And I love that bit. So I wanted to create some characters that were, noticeable and stand out. And in the script, Bryn just had these people getting saved from the fire. But I wrote to Bryn and said, hey, why don't we give them just a little more dialogue? Because personally, I'd feel bad if I had some talented actors and I just told them, look scared and get saved by a superhero. That's your only direction. I thought it'd be fun to have them do a little bit more. So Bryn wrote the scene, and the two actors in question are friends of mine, Linda and Sierra. I met them at the Mighty Tripod Studios acting class, and that's another tip that I want to give to any filmmakers out there. if you want to be a director, take acting classes. I don't care if you don't want to act, it's going to make you a better director. And also, if you have a good acting teacher there and you see how they get results from the actors, store that in your memory to say, okay, well, I like so-and-so's performance after they were given this direction to adjust. Well, now I know to give that similar type of direction if I want that. But those two had a scene together and they were fun to watch, and I wanted to replicate that magic. So it was both their first time acting on green screen, and the novelty of that just fades away as soon as you start the scene. But the two of them brought a lot of spontaneity and fun to the role. And if you're looking at the footage, I will point out that the microphone that Brenda's holding up does have the same logo as the news station in Spider-Man 3. Again, we're sticklers for getting the little details in there, and I'd like to claim it was my idea, but that was all Bryn's research. So we filmed that scene, and we got a couple bits of Mandy to round out that day. We have another shooting day coming up in July with more that we're scheduling and figuring out. It's usually just a matter of Bryn putting the final touches on a prop or a bit of scenery before it's ready to go, or coordinating an actor's schedule. I know that July and August are going to be very busy times for the production, and I'm thrilled about it. I mean, it means I get to make more update videos for you guys, and we'll get the film completed, and I cannot wait to share it because the results are looking so good. Oh, speaking of those results, actually, we have two very talented animators aboard the project, and these guys are really enthusiastic. Like us, they grew up with and love the Raimi trilogy, and their work is astounding. They've been animating web swings, they've been animating stuff that's been storyboarded. We did a cool thing where we have a head scan of Mandy that is going to be placed on a 3D body for Black Cat for a couple stunt sequences and some extreme wide shots. But yeah, the animation is coming out amazing. They've been taking our live action footage and seeing how well they can match the Spidey suit with the extreme level of detail. And I am really looking forward to seeing what they come up with for our action scenes. And they're chomping at the bit to do more and more. And as Bryn said, oh, they're excited now. Just wait till you see what we've got in store. Then they'll be sorry. Top Gamer NZ7SD asks, I'm sure this would be a much better question for your sound guy, but are you guys using the same sound effects techniques that they used when actually making the Raimi trilogy? Yes, that is a better question for the sound guy, but I will say on a personal level that in film school I love doing Foley work. I think it's a lot of fun. And when the time comes to do the sound design, we will research the techniques that they used, because I don't want to just rip sounds from the movie. I feel that we owe people an original product, as original as a fan film can be, so we're going the extra mile for you guys. A Different Lens 2345 asks, do Mary Jane and Felicia interact at all in the movie? Oh yes, they do actually a couple times in the script. They have a few big emotional scenes together, and well, let's just say that it does not go well, if you know what I mean. I'm so looking forward to directing that. New York City Spider-Man asks, or rather just comments, looks very nice and fits with the Raimiverse very well. Keep the classic Sunset vibe. I mean, that was all in capitals. Keep. And we will. That's one of the things I love about the Raimi trilogy, is I remember those golden and rose hues when I was in the theater watching it. Just, it just looks so beautiful, and those colors were chosen because of how well they complemented Spider-Man's suit and the Green Goblin suit. So definitely we're keeping that in mind, and that's one of the fun things about filming a comic book movie, is that, and in keeping with Raimi's vision and style, is he is very very stylistic, very kinetic, and he grew up reading comic books. He's not going to go for boring framing or boring lighting. It's all going to look great. Brandon Wilkes, N6Z, asks, will you put this movie on the High Mountain Studios channel, or are you not sure if you want to put it on the channel? Oh no, it's going to go up on the High Mountain Studios channel. Not this one, although if you guys want, I would do a director's commentary on here. I'm sure that'd be worth a few laughs at least, because I could give you my actual commentary or my bitter in character commentary. Jason Scott, V9Q, wants to know, hi, Eric on Paper. I think that should be just my name at this point. I have a question. Is the lizard going to be wearing purple pants in the fourth film? Yes, that actually was determined really early on. We liked the original look and we felt, well, Raimi would have found a way to do it. So Kurt Connors is just going to be working and happen to wear purple sweatpants that conveniently stretch to hide the lizard. And so yeah, you're going to get the purple look. Nathan the Graythan of all time, awesome name, asks, will it have an original soundtrack or will it reuse Danny Elfman's tracks? We are going to have an original soundtrack. A lot of themes have been written for the characters. We are going to be keeping the Spider-Man theme, but I don't think we're going to be ripping off the soundtrack directly. Like, we're not just going to take audio files from the movies and slap them in ours. And just because, Danny Elfman is such a great composer and the fans pay a lot of attention to things like that. And I don't want the audience hearing a music cue and then thinking, oh, I remember this bit from Spider-Man 2, or in the case of Spider-Man 3, Christopher Young's work. Like, oh, I remember this theme from that point. I don't want any distraction from that. A lot of people are being very kind and very charitable to us and saying, like, when I watch this, I'm going to treat this like it's an official fourth movie, which is a big honor, and I don't want to take that experience away from them in any way. So I'm really fighting for original music. Javier FL002 asks, how will the lizard be seen in the movie? It's been a long time since we've seen progress from him. Yes, that is true. Bryn and I are holding off showing you the lizard just because it's a big reveal. It's pretty exciting. And I kind of don't want the first looks of the lizard to just be, a behind the scenes shot, because typically a lot of behind the scenes shots aren't lit very well. They're lit, it's like very flatly, and it may kind of ruin the illusion or the suspense we're going for when you see the lizard. But yeah, the suit's completed and it's ready to go. As a matter of fact, we are talking about shooting some scenes and inserts of that probably next month, I want to say. I think, like I mentioned earlier with the guards, I have the scene storyboarded of the lizard, and he is going to be a really clever combination of the suit, of like the close-up of the head, and also of CGI. Because here's the thing with visual effects, if you go with CGI all the time, the audience catches on and thinks, oh, it's CGI. But if you alternate the effects between here's a practical this, here's a digital that, if you alternate it, cut back and forth cleverly enough, it's one of the reasons why I feel like a movie like Jurassic Park holds up, the original one holds up really well today. And in the latest series, I haven't seen the new Jurassic Park as of this video, so so I'm not speaking to that one, but it just looks like very good CG. I think that Stan Winston's animatronics and the puppets that they built, and I think that intercut with the CGI would actually go. We're trying to go with the same technique, and of course, here's the thing with fantastic creatures is that we know they're not real, so I think subconsciously it's like when you're watching a magic show, or at least when I do, you kind of try to see the trick, see what's going on, how does the illusion work. So that's why we have good minimal lighting to keep the creature in darkness. Not so black that you can't see, but just enough to where he's creepy, he's scary, and it's going to be a fun scene. I think you're all going to really like the lizard. He also asks, will we see a new teaser or trailer soon? Yes, I can comment on that. So Bryn and I, we were discussing it, saying like, we have so much footage now. And now we have really good CGI that we can start really accomplishing the action scenes. And we were talking, what are we going to do? Are we going to do like small multiple character trailers for reveals, or what? That was one option. But Bryn and I eventually, what we settled on was like one really long trailer, like maybe 4 or 5 minutes, that really showcases what we've got going on, shows off some of the amazing CGI, and really, for me as the director, shows off all the effort the actors have been putting into it because it's been looking stellar. I think that everyone working on this film should be really proud of their performance, and I think that you guys have been so patient and waited so long that we owe you a longer thing. So that's what we're working on. Bryn and I, we've like debated back and forth about like, oh, we could put this in there, we could put that in there, and it's like we're like blue skying the trailer out of everything we wanted, but then we're like, okay, so um, okay, this works here, but this would be a stronger story beat here. Or, I get why you'd say this, but no. Surprisingly, that's Bryn saying it to me. AG Speaks asks, what's been the hardest and easiest stuff to film/finish during the production? Well, that's a good question. To me, a lot of the easier stuff to film is actually the dramatic scenes, especially scenes between Peter and Mary Jane, because Bryn and Leona are both really talented and work very well together. Those are a breeze. Mandy really just nails the Black Cat character, and what's funny is there is a difference because she's like a goofball off camera, but I think I think only a handful of times I've said, okay, that's more of a Mandy take. We need a Felicia take, and then the sass just comes in there. So I would say that's the easy stuff. I mean, the actors really know the material and just bring it together. The hardest stuff, I would say, okay, the hardest stuff of indie filmmaking is scheduling people, because uh, everybody's got lives and families and jobs, or in the case of our production, as many medical mishaps as you can possibly imagine. But in terms of actually filming, um, I would say the most challenging shoot, and probably just on an endurance level, was 3 back-to-back days in the Daily Bugle set. Um, you could tell by the end of the third day everybody was getting tired. Not like burned out, I'm sick of this, but more just like, okay, we've been here for how many hours per day, and so it was a good kind of tired because you worked hard. Ian Huff Studios 7602 asks, what is the best Spider-Man 4 scene that you're most proud of that you would pat yourself on the shoulder? Well, I mean, I think from the first frame to virtually everything I have shot is the greatest thing that has ever happened to cinema. End of story. Right there. You're going to watch this movie and say, I don't need to see any other movies. You're going to cancel all your streaming services and just keep watching this. Okay, enough of that bit. But I think the scene I'm probably the most proud of, um, I would have to say that there are scenes where Spider-Man, when Greg strikes the poses that look like the comic book panels and the lighting is just right on him, and I am proud of the acting that we've accomplished. There's a great scene. There's a great fight between Peter and Mary Jane in the hall where it doesn't feel like, you know, actors acting. It feels like you're watching two. It's like they took this, scenario, the superhero scenario, what they're arguing about, and they made it a real argument. And I don't want to take all the credit because Leona and Bryn prepared, but who am I kidding? It was all me. Top Gamer NZ7SD also asks, I just thought of another question. Is Spider-Man still going to have the key to the city, or will the city turn against him again? Interesting. Interesting question. I think that in this film, New York still likes Spider-Man. He's been consistent enough times to where um, people people appreciate his heroics. He's saved so many people by now. It's like I imagine, in online dating profiles in the future, people will be in New York will be like, "Hey, want to swap Spider-Man stories?" Things like that. So yeah, he still has the hearts of almost everyone in the city. I mean, there is still J. Jonah Jameson there. Bobby P24 asks, do you personally consider this canon, and when the movie is out, will the script be available to read? Wow, do I consider this movie canon? Yes, I would like to think so. That's up to, I think that's more up to the fans to decide. I mean, I know that they are working on a Spider-Man 4 movie, and no, I don't know what that's about, but more power to them. That will be like an official Spider-Man 4. If the fans feel we've done our job and want to consider the story canon, that is great. I would be honored. But you asked if I personally consider it canon. Yeah, I would like to think so. I would like to think that these are the how the events would have unfolded. And oh, will the script be available to read? That is up to Bryn. Um, Actually, it'd be pretty interesting if you could see the various drafts and see what changed, because there's some really good material that we just had to cut for budget or logistical reasons. Amarkham9066 asks, what happened to the Instagram account? Is there any social media you guys have so that we can see updates? Well, the thing with the social media or the Instagram account, and I get this question a lot, so I'm just gonna answer it here. Uh, what happened is that some Instagram algorithm thought that that Spider-Man 4 was a spam/fake account, and so they just got rid of it, and Bryn had to appeal it, and there was a lot of back and forth. But it looks like the account has been saved. Bryn hasn't updated it yet, uploaded it yet, and when he feels ready, he'll do that. I think if you want to follow it, I post updates as frequently as I can about the film. There are some things that I can't tell you guys yet. I really want to, but I can't. And yeah, look to this channel, just the Eric on Paper stuff, and yes, sorry, you'll have to hear about my acting life and also about my comic art as well. But yeah, I post there frequently. Just look anywhere for Eric on Paper. Have a interesting long one here, so feel free to indulge. Guillermo Reyes 9054 asks, what have been the biggest obstacles you've encountered so far while directing this project? What has been the most challenging part, and how have you had to adapt? Do you feel you've changed as a filmmaker throughout the process? Have those challenges shaped your vision or directing style over the past few years? Looking ahead, what do you still feel remains unfinished or unresolved in this project? And what will you be focusing on next? Wow, great, really insightful question. I think I've talked about some of these points already, so just mainly scheduling and logistics being the most challenging part. But the part I will talk about is how we've adapted. Well, basically, we've had to postpone or alter the script in some cases. And sometimes you just have to reshoot a section if it isn't working. Because you can have a good shot or you can have a great shot. Do you feel you've changed as a filmmaker throughout the process? Yes, I have. For the better, I would say. Even if it comes to here's the thing about filmmaking is that it sounds fun to make a movie, and it is, but it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. And what you realize is that when you get those great results, it's like the most rewarding feeling in the world. And I feel how it's changed me is really realizing that there are people out there who are very talented and who do want to work their hardest to bring a vision to life out of a shared love for something, and that something is Spider-Man, specifically Raimi's Spider-Man. And I would say seeing what could be just a lofty idea really take shape. Like, seeing in the script, you know, Vulture and Peter, or Vulture and Spider-Man battle in the skies above New York. Sure, that's one thing to read, but then when you're on set and you're seeing these costume characters actually battling each other, it's like this surreal, oh my god, this is really happening. And I think realizing that you can do far more than you initially think you can if you dig down deep is something I've realized about myself. I can do a lot. And I'm really proud of that, as conceited as that may sound. Um, have the change about my directing style. Yeah, I would have to say that in my directing, I used to be hyper focused on the technical details. Like, I'd want an actor's head specifically at a certain angle, maybe a tilt down, you know, just like hand at maybe a certain pos. You know, I was all about getting a pretty picture. And what I've come to realize through this and through acting class is like you can get a pretty picture. Like you can get a pretty, like when I draw, it's like a pretty drawing, but with film, is it telling the truth of the moment? And no, no, it really wasn't. It was a pretty picture. So I'd have to say, even though I do have a vision for the characters and how I want things to go, I don't like to dictate that to people. It's more I've learned I like to collaborate more with the actors. Uh, what still remains unfinished or unresolved? Well, we do have a couple bigger shooting days left, and that's just we found locations for a lot of scenes that we need to film. So it's just clearing, making sure the actors' calendars are clear so we can shoot them. A couple sets need to be built and things like that. Um, and then, yeah, our animators are working extremely hard on great stuff. So really, it's just wrapping up the visuals and then sound design, but I think that's going to go pretty well. Uh, what will I be focusing on next? Well, I do feel like I want to take a break from doing fan projects for a while. Not that I don't love them. I think they're great. I have met and made some of my best friends in my life through this project. But in all honesty, I have some really great original ideas. I'm working on a sci-fi action horror script that I think you're all really gonna like if you decide to continue following my work after Spider-Man 4, which I would be grateful for. Please don't unsubscribe once the film comes out. So I want to thank you all for a bunch of great questions. A lot of you have asked about the release date, and I just don't want to promise anything like concrete. I do have a strong feeling we'll be finished up with principal photography by the end of this year. Our schedules are getting freer, so that means a lot more Spider-Man time, and we have a lot less to shoot. I was going through the script the other day with Brett, and we were saying, boy, we're kind of running out of material to film. I'm excited about that. The editing is going to be a lot of fun, and thank you for sticking around, and I will finally get to doing that Winter Soldier video. It's actually all filmed, I just need to edit it. And I want you to keep telling your stories.